Welcome to Sollu Kaburz podcast. Today I have with me a very, very special person, Kalki Subramaniam, artist, entrepreneur, acclaimed LGBTQT activist, trans rights activist, actress, poet, writer, magazine editor. Is there anything else I missed, ma'am?
Um, no, nothing.
Right. Uh, ho-
Travel, probably. Yes,
oh
I'm a
yeah. Oh, you
traveler.
travel a lot.
Yes,
You've
I
you've
do. Yes.
you've been to quite a few countries, right? U.S., Canada. You've been
Mhm.
invited to like speak, and what? Where else have you been?
Um, yeah, I've been to Netherlands, I've been to Switzerland, and to Germany, and to Austria. Four countries in Europe, and in Asia, I've been to Cambodia and
Wow.
Nepal. Yeah,
Majority of them are speaking tours, or you love traveling. You must be loving traveling.
I think Cambodia. I think for Cambodia, it was something I really wanted to go. So
Hmm.
I was not invited. It was a personal tour trip with my friends. But otherwise, all the places that I've been to, I've been invited.
Lovely.
Yeah, buy the plane ticket.
Yes, excellent. Good for you, ma'am. Lucky you. I wanted to start because the first thing I mentioned when I was describing you was an artist. So I was reading about you, and you are a bright student, class topper. You have two master's degree in journalism and international relations, right? So how did your fascination with art start in a sense from the childhood, or what's your fascination from the art?
I think my fascination with arts started right from childhood. It was not a fascination for me then. It was actually um, a way to outlet,
Hmm.
a way to express. I was looking for something to talk, something to express. Because as a gender non-conforming child, a gender confused child, I couldn't really express to people, to humans, what I really wanted to. So all I got was the pen and the paper, and I started to write poetry, and I started to paint and do sketches of how I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, these images that I have in my uh, subconscious mind of being a woman, of being successful, and all that, of being happy mostly, of being a happy woman. That is what I visualized. Those were the images I was drawing. And so it was not something I had for fascination, it was more of a compulsion. It was more of a necessity. Art was a necessity towards me. It was a medium to express. It was a channel for me. Yeah.
Was that the point of your first magazine, Sahodri, to express yourself? What were you doing in that magazine? I didn't have a look at the magazine because I've never lived in Tamil Nadu, or I've just looked up a few pictures of yours. But what were you doing in that magazine? You were the first. No, I'm sorry. You had a magazine, right? At very young age, Sahodri.
Yeah. It's called Sahul. Yeah. It was in Tamil. And basically, I started this magazine because I was angry at the mainstream media.
Hmm.
Um, a lot was written about the transgender community in a poor light, in a wrong representation, objectifying, and not really valuing the community, not understanding the community. So I thought I should do it because I was one of the few educated in the community. And I also did my master's in journalism and mass communication. So I started it with confidence, and I was running the magazine for more than 2 years. It was actually freely distributed among trans people with the help of an NGO who actually helped me to print the magazine and distribution as well. So basically, it was an effort to educate our community, not really the public.
Mm.
It was an effort to educate, empower, inspire, and motivate our community so that they feel that they are very valued, that their self esteem grows, and they take care of their mental and physical health.
And
Yeah, it was a beautiful effort.
mm,
And I think all my activism started from that. Even the name of Sahodari later became our foundation's name as Sahodari Foundation, even though we stopped the magazine in 2 years.
I'll get to that. You speak of the fact that most of the folks from your community are not educated. Why is that the case, ma'am? Why is that the case? Is that the case even if they are born in a privileged family or something like that, or is it just the very reason is basically you it drills down to poverty, or what is it? Why are the most folks not educated?
I think even if a transgender person is born in a privileged family or an underprivileged family,
Hmm.
doesn't make any difference.
Hmm.
As long as your parents accept you, even if you're poor, it means so much. Even if your family, I mean, is if even if your family is poor and begging, but if they accept you that as you're a trans, they just accept you as you are, it is absolutely important, and it's so important. Even then, they could actually pursue their education, even if it is in a small way, not a convent educated, but still, they'll be able to go to a government school. Whereas I've seen many trans people, even coming from a rich families, being rejected and then coming and joining with the other trans community, begging and doing sex work and all that. So, for whether rich or poor family, what really counts in a family is whether the family accepts or not. And when a family accepts a transgender person, she or he is able to continue their education and go up to degree or PhD level. When they are not accepted, then the community people, the transgender person, has to come out of the family or is thrown out of the family and loses everything, including the opportunity to get educated.
Uh, why is that the case? I mean, uh, historical reasons, cultural reasons. Why is it so hard to be accepted
I
for
think,
parents?
plainly speaking, it's patriarchy that exists in our country.
Hmm.
That we see being born a male is superior and being born a female is, of course, it's not so superior. If I may not even say the word inferior, it's considered not so superior. Um, Upon that, even though we praise our women, in so many ways, women are oppressed. Women are deemed to be the lower sex. So that reflects really in the trans community too. For example, when a boy uh, is transitioned into a girl, it is actually deemed to be a transition from superior to inferior.
Hmm.
So that is the reason why even families who have been programmed for generations to praise the son and to not, praise our daughters. This is what happens, that when the transition happens, the family is unable to accept it, unable to uh, um, give any sort of help and support to the person who is transitioning in the family. So that is the reason.
And also, people around should also like normalize and it's treat folks like humans, right? Like in 2020, you still see movies like Bala, and how can you possibly expect any change to happen anytime soon, ma'am? Which way are we going?
I think I will tell you about the movies.
Hmm.
The movies have done a great damage. Indian movies have done a great damage to the transgender community. Not only Hindi movies, but let me tell you, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam movies, all the movies have actually degraded the community in so many ways. Not today, not yesterday, but for decades they have done it. And it has actually damaged the community so much, even to the extent of naming the community in different, slangs and words taken from the movies. So movies are cis narratives. Movies are all cis narratives, cisgender narratives, patriarchal narratives. So we need to unlearn it. We need to see, we need to have creators. Basically, we need to have filmmakers and creators who are much more open-hearted,
Hmm.
who know the human rights issues, who see humans as humans, not as trans women or men, who are compassionate and who value a human. That's what I would say. But still, my take is that you cannot, cry, make complaints, nag again and again when some film actually objectifies or stereotypes a transgender person.
Mm.
My take is that when we become creators, when trans people become filmmakers and writers and artists and script writers, then I think we would definitely change these narratives and will show the right way. Yeah.
Who are the artists and the creators from any art field, cinema, art, music, that have really inspired you in that sense? Who have you looked up to? Who
Um,
are your idols in a sense?
I think the Wachowski sisters are my idols,
Hmm.
uh, definitely. Uh, I love their movies. I love the way their movies have been made. I'm a big fan, even
Mm.
before they came out as transgender.
Mm.
Lily Wachowski and Lana Wachowski,
Hmm.
who directed the Matrix series,
Yes.
The Matrix Reloaded, the Matrix Revolution, and then the web series Sense8. Absolutely very intellectual and very well made films with a very, very uh, time traveling script. I'm not talking time traveling just by the literal meaning, but actually foreseeing the future and writing scripts. Even if you see, Matrix was made, I think, a couple of decades ago.
Yep.
But if you look at the movie today, it is so relevant to what is happening today.
Yep.
So the Wachowski sisters are truly somebody I really admire from the trans community who have made such good work.
Brilliant. And I mean, what are the challenges that you faced in your in your life, right? Personally and structurally, where you come from, how was your support system, and how did the classic Indian society prejudices affected you? And this must be a very long answer, and you can choose to keep it short. You can choose to keep it long. It's up to you.
Okay. I think I was one of the very, very few privileged kids.
Mm.
Um, I was born in a middle class family, even though I was not poor. My parents actually gave me all kind of support. I came out, I was the only boy in the family. I had a elder sister and a younger sister. I have them. Um, even because I was a boy, I had the privilege to get educated in a convent, uh, in an English speaking convent, and
Mm.
I got educated, while my sisters were not given that opportunity, which
Mm.
I'm ashamed of today. Uh, but I'm trying to compensate what I could. So that is how I was empowered. My parents loved me even when I came out as trans women. They did not throw me out, and they loved me and wanted to help me.
What age
They
was
just want me
this?
to be happy. Mhm.
What age was this? So how old were you?
I think I came out to my parents when I was 14.
Hmm. Okay.
Slowly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I came out to my parents full fledged when I think I was 17,
Mm-hmm.
18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So initially they were shocked and there was so much drama at home, but eventually they did accept me. And so many years now, and they're proud of me. Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's what I expect happening in to all our community people, that they should be uh, loved and they should be accepted, and they will. I think they would definitely bring pride to the family.
Right. But initial days, did they go? It must be quite taxing and tolling for them, right? Because yeah, they are accepting you as a kid, but people around them must be pestering them, and tell us about that if any of that happened.
Nobody was in my family.
Really.
I think I'm very close to my aunts,
Mm.
my two aunts, and my from my father's side too. I'm quite close to my aunties, uncles, but my aunties, uncles do have like 6 or 7 sons. So
Mm.
they used to tease me, but they never bullied me. They used to tease me, only tease me, but they never bullied me. So I never really had any pressure from my extended relatives. In that way, I think I've been truly lucky, because even in so many families I've seen, if you're accepted, even if accepted by your family, the extended families don't. And they shame your parents, and your parents are pain. In that way, I think I was blessed. I was very blessed to have a very good supporting extended family.
Right. You said you wake up at 4 a.m. to listen to positive music and read. And is that your way to like stay
Yeah.
positive and in a sense, I don't know what you're coping with, but just to cope with all the transphobism that you see around you, not on you directly, but around you in society in general. So is that your coping mechanism of sort? What do you do to overcome all the you have, as you put it, you've received all sorts of encouragement, but is that your coping mechanism to sometimes overcome the discouragements to reach where you are?
Yeah. Mm, I think I've gone through a lot in my childhood, in my teenage, and especially in my 20s. I went through so much of bullying and harassment, so much at school and even at college during my first year. Um, Continuous harassment and all that. And I never went for any therapy. Later, I studied my master's and then went for a job and then started foundation and all that. So I really gave time for myself to heal, even though art was something really, really helpful. At that point of time, I wasn't. Only during childhood time, I was actually painting. And around um, so many years after college, I did not really paint. So I didn't have a mechanism to vent out my feelings and to cry. I never cried for so many years because I was only angry. So much in rage I was that I wouldn't break, because I thought even breaking down would actually um, make me small, you know. I thought I want to be a strong person. I was somewhat pretending as well, but then I'm human, and I thought like I should take it all away. And I read these days. I read a lot of books. I paint a lot, and I listen to music and uh, positive affirmations and all that. I try to heal myself. I try to um, suggest myself that I need to come out of it. That is why sometimes I call my old, not friends really, those people who studied with me, who
Mm.
are bullied, who have bullied me. I try to find them, and now I try to get an explanation from them,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because it's so important for me. Um, I know a guy who, for example, in my first year of my college education,
Mm-hmm.
he just objectified me too much. In fact, I
Mm-hmm.
was in love with him, but then he objectified me too much. And today he's actually a principal of a school in a very
Wow.
reputed school. He is. And he know what I've become now.
Mm.
I own an apology from him, but till today, he has not apologized to me. So after this pandemic, I'm planning to go meet him, and I'm just going to say two things. Either accept the fact that I'm going to slap you, or apologize to me, I'm going to say. So I'm going to give him a choice, because
Good.
I want to get away from my karma, you see. I
Mm.
don't want to hold all these negative things and the energies, and especially I would like to, I would seek his apology, because I wanted to forgive him, basically. I don't want to take revenge. I wanted to forgive him, but I can forgive him only when he apologizes and regrets, right? So if he's not apologizing, I'm going to slap and come away. And I think that would put an end to that chapter. So this is some of the things that I've been to helping myself to be a good person in the world. Yeah.
Trying to bring some things to full circle.
Yes.
Uh,
Truly, yes.
and do you think
Because I think, because I think the ball is in my court now.
mhm. I don't know, ma'am. I don't advocate slapping, but it's up to you. It's you're the one.
No, I said if he does not
Mm,
apologize to me, and if he's not feeling sorry for what he did to me, then don't you think he deserves a slap? I think he deserves. Maybe you may not agree, but
I
I
think
think he does.
he deserves a bit of shaming, if not slapping. I think shaming is more effective.
Um, I don't know how to shame,
All right.
but I would slap. I mean, that would actually be a shame, even though I would slap him privately, not in front of the public.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that, but I get what you're saying. Let me move on to the question of, is the situation for LGBTQ rights getting better in India? I mean, you advocated for trans rights to trans identity in Supreme Court, right? What was that about? And do you think the situation is going north, or is it going south?
I think the situation is actually going north.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, in spite of so many difficulties we have had in the past,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to trans rights, I think years of advocacy, especially a lot of too many of us, particularly a few in the north and then the few in the south of India, we were continuously advocating with the Supreme Court judiciary, with the district court judiciary, with the Judicial Academy, uh, many of them from the even up to the Chief Justice of India.
Mm,
We have advocated for the trans rights, and we have enlightened, and I would say we have educated the judiciary system today.
mm,
Um, so I think that made the difference, and
mm,
the Supreme Court's Chief Justice of India, Altamas Kabir, has been the sole reason for this legal rights change. He
mm,
took initiatives. He listened to what our stories were, and he took initiatives. A PIL was filed in the Supreme Court, and then the verdict came in favor of us. After the verdict, only in every state there is much happening now.
mm,
And regarding the LGBT people, same-sex relationships have been decriminalized in our country.
mm.
I think in um, 2018, I believe, the Supreme Court of India decriminalized homosexuality.
Right.
So that is actually a great thing, because uh, we are moving forward in our country. We are a progressive country in spite of so many hurdles we face as a nation. Uh, the caste system, the economic imbalances, the diversity that we have, which of course we need to be proud of, but still there are problems in that level as well. So in spite of all this, our country is much better and progressive than most other Asian nations. So I'm
Lo-
very optimistic on India.
Lovely. Uh, how has internet helped you in the sense? Just talk about your life before the internet came in and after the internet came in. Don't you do you think internet is a net positive or net negative for the rights and issues of trans folks in general? Do you think it helped spread the awareness, or do you think it helped transphobia come bring its true honest face? Because internet is pretty freaking honest, right? Because everybody's anonymous and they just type away whatever they want, you know what I mean? And so talk about internet's role in your activism in general.
I think internet has been a biggest weapon and a tool for
Mm,
not only trans community but for any underprivileged community,
mm,
I believe. Why? Because when we didn't have any internet, uh, educating was impossible. Telling stories was impossible. Personalizing, telling our personal conflicts in all levels of society was impossible, because nobody could visualize how a transgender person's life could be. And today, because we have YouTube, Facebook, and so many other social platforms, we could visualize, we could give an opportunity for the public to see what's going on in our life, to listen to our voices. Before the internet, I would say we were voiceless.
Mm.
We could solely depend on the mainstream media.
Which is
What they
full of
report
which
was,
is full of cis narrative, anyways.
oh yes, yes, yes. The public would get only those narratives. And today, because of the internet, they could seek the truth. They could ask questions, and they could see what's going on in our life, and they could extend their support. Even this, sometimes there is trolling, and sometimes definitely there is transphobia. But the kind of success that we had after the age of internet
Mm.
in empowering our community, in educating the public, has been tremendous. I'm very happy, and I would say that I've used it so powerfully. I've used the blogging, initially the blogging. I've used Orkut, I've used MySpace to educate people, and now I use Facebook and Instagram to educate our community. And of course, I'm good in website and web designing and WordPress as well. So my technical skills, especially related to IT, it helped me so much in empowering our community and educating the public.
Lovely. And one more question I was curious about is,
Yeah.
what is your attitude towards religion in general, right? Because religions, without naming any religion across the world, across the centuries, they have been openly rejecting trans people, right? That they're pretty much
Yes.
transphobic, right? So I wonder what your attitude towards religion is, and attitude of trans people towards religion in general, right? So talk about that, please. Talk about religion's role and your take on it.
I think religion. I've never felt religion has been in any way a barrier for a community people, but caste system is definitely a barrier.
Hmm.
Even though within the trans community we don't even know each other's caste, and I don't think within the trans community there is this caste system.
Hmm.
It was never prevalent for so many years. Some of my best friends, I don't even know their caste, or they don't even know my caste. That is how it is still today. At least in Tamil Nadu, it is like that. Because we don't carry our caste name at the end of our born name, right? Whatever we have given names, our birth name, we don't carry our caste at the end of our names. But whereas if you look at all over India, we have the caste name at the end of the birth name, which I think is a shameful thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, Trans community has not been affected so far has not been affected. But recently, I do see conflicts within the Dalit and the upper caste communities in the transgender communities too, which I'm so sad to see. But my support always goes for people who have been within, even if within the transgender community, if any kind of oppression of caste, because of caste within the trans community, is unacceptable, and I would never appreciate or support it. This is something new to us. I've never heard.
Mm.
For so many decades we never had this problem, but recently uh, I think caste oppression is coming even within the trans community, and I'm not happy about it. Yeah. Religion. When we talk about religion, you said, I would say that even though I do not favor the caste system in our Hindu culture and religion, but somehow the gender diversity that prevails in Hindu religion, in so many ways, it has helped for the understanding of public.
Mm.
Because in our country, majority people are Hindus. Ardhanarishwar and the stories of Mahabharata, Ramayana, the oneness of Parvati and Shiva, and the transformation of Krishna into Mohini, all these fascinating stories have definitely helped in in making people understand and educate them, educate educate people. Yeah.
Right. And how did how did you get into acting, right? So did you get into acting for a purpose, or you just you love cinema in a way, or you went there to just express yourself in a sense, because ultimately cinema is an art form, right? So you're the first transgender actress to act in a Tamil movie. You have some record like that, right? Something of that sort.
Yes. I think I love movies. I've
Hmm.
always been very fascinated by them. Movies were another outlet for me into lives of being, the fantasy figure and fairy princess and all that.
Hmm.
But I think I never wanted to really be an actress, or no aspirations I had to enter the film. Mostly my passion was towards social work and art, but the acting opportunity just like that came to me.
Mhm.
In 2010, I was offered this role to play the lead in a film called Nartaki in Tamil, which was a which was very much an autobiography story, a fictional autobiography story of a
Mhm.
transgender dancer activist. And I did the role in the film, and it got awards, many awards as well. And um, my acting was appreciated, and I was the first, even in the titles of the film, uh, my name was the first to come. So I
Hmm.
was the lead. So I don't know in how many Indian movies, a transgender person's name comes first. First of all, there is nobody who's playing a lead role until unless a top hero plays something. So that was a very good experience. After that, I did a Hindi film, a parallel cinema, which was never released in theaters.
Mhm.
It will be released in OTT. A very nice story. It's a Hindi film. Between there are only three characters in the film, and after that, I did a special appearance in a super hit Tamil film Sarkar. Director Murugadas was a very good friend of me, so he wanted to cast me in the film. So I was there, and then right now I'm working um, in an in the Indo-British film venture. I'm doing
Wow.
the consulting for the film. Yeah,
Lovely. We
thank you.
blame movies a lot, right? But there must be some movies who got it right, right? Obviously, the movies that you have acted, and well, I mean, my recent example that I could point is Patal Lok, in a sense. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but there must be some movies
Uh,
that got it right, right?
um, yes, I think quite a few movies actually got it right. Um, I haven't seen Hindi movies who got
Mm,
it right, but I know that films like Dharmiya and a few movies have indeed showed, especially I think there was this role in Mom, a transgender person
mm,
actually helps, Sridevi teaches English
mm,
to a Hijra person.
right.
So that was right. Very good narrative those were. But otherwise, I would say that not much in Hindi films.
Pretty
There's too
sad.
much stereotyping about trans people in Hindi movies. Yeah,
Yeah. And
always clapping, dancing, and all that.
what
Even
difference?
in Lakshmi, even in
Yes.
Lakshmi,
Yes.
Lakshmi also stereotyped.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you've been invited to various countries as a speaker, right? What lessons can we learn about them? So because the number one excuse that we as Indians have is they are developed countries, they have the budget, that this. But sometimes you don't really need a budget to implement things that they do well. So what lessons can we learn, and what can you share from your travel experiences?
Well, I think the number one thing as a country we can learn is, of course, discipline.
Hmm.
Discipline in everything, in traffic, or when you stand, as simple as thing as standing in a line to get into uh, to buy a burger, or standing in line to get into a
And I
training
was I was
of
getting to
everything.
I was getting more towards,
Yeah,
how they encourage people from trans community, and from that angle, what can we learn? What are they doing better to get rid of transphobia from their societies that we can learn and implement here?
I think education,
Hmm.
how's education on gender equality, gender identity, and sexuality is taught in the higher secondary school, in junior colleges, in countries abroad, especially in the West, in
Mm.
Europe and in the USA. That is something that we need to teach our children. Yeah, that I think is the
We-
most
That is an
important than
excellent
anything
that is
else.
an that is an excellent point, because I didn't have a single lesson in my textbook teaching me about various various types of people, right? Everything I've learned through internet,
Yeah,
still learning. I still don't know much. I mean, cis is a term that I've very recently learned, and I'm a freaking 28-year-old man, which is pretty sad and shame. I don't have anyone to blame. I have myself to blame. It's my ignorance. But it would be really helpful if we had those things taught in high school, right?
absolutely. And that is also one of the reasons why so many people are ignorant. And that is the reason why even films, as we said, films are what happened.
No, I said ignorant when I'm pointing towards myself.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what you're saying is right. Of course, each I see a lot of people are ignorant because uh, you were not given that opportunity to get
Mm,
educated. The knowledge that you deserve was blocked. You were denied. Um, it's not because you didn't want to learn, it's because they didn't allow you to learn.
mm,
That is the reason. So I think everybody deserves to uh, be knowledgeable, everybody deserves to be educated.
mm.
And not only you, but your professors and your teachers were also denied that. And that is what we see today, uh, that the transphobia exists truly in our country
Mm.
because of ignorance, simply. Because we never had, the public never had, our fathers and mothers and our teachers even never had the opportunity to understand who is the transgender person. All
Our
they
in
could see was in the movies,
Yeah,
in
and our
TV,
our
and what is
interaction.
shown as stereotyped images.
Yep, and
Yeah.
our real life interactions are also so rare,
Uh,
right?
yeah,
So,
totally. Yes. Yeah,
uh,
because our community has been brought to a shaming level. I mean,
mm,
has brought to a minuscule level, and we are afraid of the public. We are
mm,
bullied by the public. We don't want to be the public. To save ourselves, sometimes we bully the public,
mm.
and it is vice versa. We fear the public because they will bully us, and they fear us because we will bully them.
And we
Yeah,
all have this mechanisms of superstitions, right? Like you should not go and shake a hand with the
yeah.
trans folks, and all that. And these are all, I think, these are all mechanisms to, like, avoid, like, segregate people in a sense.
Absolutely. I think this is all superstitious to me. I would say we are
You-
humans. We are not demigods. We are not, everybody is God's child, not only trans people. So shaking hands or getting a blessing, whatever it is, before even thinking about it, we should get educated. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Do you think this attitude of Indian society is changing? Are you optimistic? You said you're optimistic, but in what sense?
Yeah.
So you have any live examples around you? Because for me, ultimate change comes when someone from my neighborhood has changed, and I don't want some celebrity to come out and, like, express his support or whatever. That doesn't count me. For me, what counts is what's happening in my neighborhood, in my vicinity, right? So is that change happening? Do you see any live examples?
Yes, I see the change definitely happening.
Mm-hmm.
I see within the transgender community, so many transgender people are getting educated. Many of them didn't want to go for begging and sex work. They, I could see before 10 years, nobody was known for the open trans person was studying in a college or a university or even in school. And today I see many transgender people openly enrolling in colleges and universities. And don't you think that is a huge change that we are bringing into the academic circles, academic education system, and that is where everything starts. Change starts at school
Mm,
and in university. They have
mm.
universities and colleges have great influence in garnering the mindsets of a country, and I see that as a very positive sign for the future of trans people in the country.
Lovely. And how about corporate India, right? So, what do you think corporate India's attitudes have been or are in terms of, are there any hiring biases? Do you face any? I mean, you must have worked in corporate, right? So, how's the situation now? I mean, again, every single field, as you said, is cis biased, uh, and we tend to think that somehow corporate people are this wonderful, inclusive folks. Are they?
I would say yes and no.
Uh-huh.
There are many corporates genuinely working
Mm-hmm.
to include trans folks into their mainstream company and work and all that. But there are companies who do pink washing. Pink washing means just trying to show that they support, but actually they are not really supporting or including trans or LGBT people
Mm-hmm.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Many companies exist like that. They just do pink washing, but a majority of corporate companies are creating policies in the inclusion of trans people.
Mm-hmm.
And even though um, pink washing does exist, trans people are getting opportunities to work in corporate sector, and many of them are being successful. And that is what I see.
Lovely. And finally, before I let you go, we are all, uh, we cis folks, we have come up through this education system, mostly Indians. Most of my listeners are Indians, and um, we are not educated. And what would you point us towards? Where would we go to? I mean, internet is such a huge place, but you can learn a lot from the internet. But what else do you suggest in terms of our own self education and erasing our own biases and prejudices? In a sense, what message and what suggestions do you have for us that can make us better people in a sense?
I think, especially with the public, I would say that uh, because of the internet age, we come across a lot of good and bad, so much of data, so much of
Mm,
garbage is also thrown at us.
mm,
uh, Today the problem we have is not lack of information, but too much of information.
mm-hmm,
So even when it comes to LGBTQI issues, we have so much information. So we need to research. I think research is the only word I would say. Any piece of information, any piece of news that you get, research. Do not blindly believe it.
mm-hmm.
And that is what I would say when it comes to
Right,
the growth, personal growth and progress.
right.
Yeah.
Last question. Tell us, what was that moment, that one moment or a couple of moments in your life where you really felt that, yep, you've made it. You've made it despite everything that you've been through.
Yeah, my mom actually attended my audio launch of my film Nartiki,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, in the protocol program agenda, um, she was not supposed to speak on the podium.
Mm,
But then the director of my movie, she invited my mom to speak,
mm,
and it was a sudden invitation. So my mom was hesitant, but she did went to the podium, and when she spoke, she said, "I'm proud of Kalki." So that was my greatest moment. Uh,
mm.
I felt that I have achieved my parents' love, and more than that, I've given honor to them. I've given respect to them. I've made them proud. So that is it. That was the greatest moment in my
Not
little
the
life. Yeah.
not the TEDx moment, not the invitations that you've got across the world, but that moment.
Never.
Yeah,
No, that moment
right.
when a mother really is proud of a child. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, ma'am. May you get more such moments in your life. Good luck to your work. Good luck to you. Thank you very much for being on this podcast. Tell people
Thank
where
you,
we can
Neeraj.
find.
Thank you.
Tell people where we can find your wonderful artwork on social media. Please tell about that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. You can people can follow me on Instagram. The handle is Queen Kalki, Instagram.com/Queen Kalki, and on Facebook, Facebook.com/Kalki Art. And if you'd like to visit my website, it's KalkiSubramaniam.com.
Lovely, folks. Go ahead, click those, follow, subscribe. That's a ton of education waiting for you. That's it from the Sollu Kaburz podcast. Hope you've enjoyed listening to this and learned something from this. Till we see you next time. Bye, everyone.